Hey 2D superheroes, how's it going? I'm Alejandro Perez, your sidekick, helping you save your production one script at a time. So this is what we're going to be working on. Let's say we had two pieces of geometry. We can have two objects like this. And in my test shelf here, if I run the script, you'll see that it creates a line between them. And if we move either one of the objects, it is going to make a line stay between these two objects connected. And before we go any further, I just wanted to let you know about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is TD Superheroes. We are sponsoring our own video with a product that we have called the Curve Tool by TD Superheroes. This is what the tool looks like. We have the ability to create a whole bunch of different types of curves, some that you might be familiar with already, and some more fancy tools. We can assign colors to them, so we can make them different colors. We have the ability to do a custom color and some preset colors that we have over here. So we can change the colors. And then we have some bonus tools, including the connection line that we are working on today's tutorial with. So we have the ability to create that with the tool. So if you want to get access to this tool, check out the link down in the description, and let's get back to the tutorial. Okay, let's get started. What we want to do is start off by importing Maya commands, maya.cmds as MC, and then what we are going to do is get the selection. So we want two objects selected. Let's put this together in a function. So let's do define, what should we call this? Connecting line. There you go. We got a name for the function, and then we want to get the selection. So we're going to create a variable called cell, make it equal to mc.ls. So we're creating a list. SL based off of the selection equals true. Okay. And then let's just start off by print cell. Okay, and then let's run this function, connecting line. There we go. Okay, so right now if we run it, and let's bring up our history, let's make this smaller, we have an empty list here. So that is good. Let's create a couple locators. There, we got two locators. Now if we select them, we get locator 1 and locator 2. Perfect, this is working nicely. Okay, so what we want to do is make sure, since we need two locators and not more than two locators, we need to make sure that the selection is the appropriate length. So let's go to create an if statement, and we're going to say if len of cell is equal to 2, then print, let's just put cell. Okay, and we run the function connecting line. Okay, there we go. So we know that we have two objects selected, and we can do that, but we can say else print only have, or must have, two objects selected. There we go. And then if we run it here, we still have two. That works. Let's try running this. Must have two items or objects selected. That's great. Okay, so now if we had a third locator, let's move that over here, and we selected this, then it says must have two objects selected. So that is good. So it gives us a output saying that we need at least two objects selected. Then now let's put our function here. We're going to say MC curve, and then let's give it a name, make it equal to line connection. We can get a better name for it in a minute, but I'm going to just leave that there. Then degrees is going to be equal to 1. So that way we create straight lines, and we need 2 points. So points. And in here, we're going to have 2 of them separated by the comma. Okay, and then they're both going to be at 0, 0, 0. Same thing here, 0, 0, 0. Okay, expand this a little bit, and then we have the points that we need here to create a line. The line has 2 points, but they're at the same place, but we're going to fix that. Let's make this a variable, so we're going to call this my curve is equal to that, and then let's go here. Let's make this a little bit smaller so that you guys can see that. Okay, and then let's print my curve. Okay, so I have invalid syntax. That's because I am missing a parentheses at the end of there. So let's do that. Error, positional argument shows following keyword. Oh, P equals, there we go. Must have 2 objects selected, perfect. And then let's run this. We created line connection, that is great. So when it printed it, we have the name of the object here. So what I'm going to do is, with the name, add the items on the list. So I'm going to say plus, and I'm going to do cell, let's make an underscore here, plus cell 0, and then plus underscore plus cell 1. Okay, so we need 2 objects selected. Run this, and we can see that now the line connection, and then it's going to give us the 2 objects that it's connected to. So that's good. Now we need to get these points to be linked to each one of these. So how do we do that? We need to get access to the control vertices. So if we right click in there and we select it, we can see that we have the name of the object, .cv 0, and then the other point would be 1. So if we select it over there, we have 0 and 1, because we only created 2 points. So we need to create a cluster based off of that point. So let's go mc.select, and then we're going to say my curve plus .cv 0. Okay, so let's, I only need to get rid of that one. Let's select both of these, test it. There we go, and you can see that it's selected. Let's say mc dot cluster, it's create cluster. Okay, and let's give it a name. Name equals cluster 1. Need 2 items selected. Here you go. Run it. Let's get rid of this, and let's select both of these. Let's try that again. Line 8, cluster 1 is not defined. Is it create cluster or just cluster? Let's have 2 items selected. Oh, because it needs to be a string. Let's make sure that's a string, and then must have 2 items selected. 1, 2. Actually, let's get rid of this line. Select 2 objects. Run, and we can see we have a cluster. So with this cluster here, we can parent it to that other object, which is what we need. Okay, so let's make this equal to something. We're going to say this is cluster 1, equals this. Okay, and then let's print cluster1 to see what it gives us. And let's delete these. We need both of these selected, run. Cluster1 and cluster1 handle. So the object that we need to get access to is the cluster1 handle, not cluster1. So that is good to know. Then let's copy these two lines and paste them here. This time it's going to be 1 here. This is going to be called 2. And then this could be cluster 2. Let's do that. Select both of these objects, run it. Now we got 2 clusters. We have 1 here and we have 1 here. That's great. So now we want it when we move these for it to be connected to those, and we want them to be at the right positions. So how do we do it? We can go ahead and add a line here that we're going to say mc.setAdder. We're going to make that cluster 1, and then because it's a list item and we want the second item, we saw that it was a handle. We'll add it like that, and then plus .tx. Okay, so we have the cluster and we're going to get the tx value of this. And what are we going to make it equal to? We're going to make it equal to mc.getAdder. And it's going to be cell. Start off with 0 plus .tx. And then we can close the parentheses for the set adder. Okay. Let's copy this, paste it, and paste it. We're going to change this to ty and tz, ty and tz. Okay, so let's select both of these. Then here, run it. And we have this cluster over here that we can see that did jump up to that other position. This one, we're going to set it up right now, but it would be jumping because right now they were both at the origin, but if we have them separate like this, it won't actually be in the same spot. Select 2 objects. See, that one's still in the origin. So we need to do the same thing we did for the second object. So let's copy this here. Paste it, then this is going to be cluster 2. And 1 is fine on there. This time in the selection, it's going to be 1 instead of 0, because we want the second object selected. Now if we take all of this, run it, we can see that they snap onto the right positions. That is great. Now what we want is to make sure that this moves with it when we move that here. We can also set the visibility to false. So let's do that one first because that one's easy. I'm going to copy this part right here. Paste it here. Instead of TZ, it's going to be .v for visibility. And we're going to make this 0. And then let's copy this. Paste it here. And this is going to be cluster 2. So when we run these, let's get rid of these here. Select these 2. Run all of this. We can see that we have 2 clusters, but the clusters are invisible so that they're not intrusive in the connection there. Another thing that we can do is maybe template this curve. So we have my curve, mc.setAdder, my curve, plus template. And it should be in quotes, so dot template equals to true. You can also do 1. Let's see if that works. Let's have 2 objects selected. Let's clear these objects here. Select these 2 and run it. Now you can see that you have a templated line. So all of this is great, but if we move either of these points here, it will not work. The line doesn't stay with them. So let us set that up. Now we can go ahead and do mc.parent. We're going to say cluster 1 to cell 0. And then we're going to copy this whole line. Let's copy this, paste, and this is going to be 2, and then cell 1. Okay, let's try this. Oops. Let's clear the scene, select both of the locators, run the code, and now if we move either one of these locators, we have a line connected between them. That is good, and it will work with any objects you have in your scene. So if we clear that, and let's say we had a box, and a box, it can be any objects. Select 2 objects, run this, and we got a line between them. That is pretty cool. Alright, so that's how that works. That's the end of this tutorial. If you found it useful, check out this video here. The YouTube algorithm picked it up for you. I bet you think it's useful.